Hey, what's happening, everybody? I am Aunt Pruitt, and this is Everyday People Doing Everyday Shit. Hope y'all doing well. I am unbelievable as always. This is our fun little podcast where we sit down and get on these dadgum mics and just talk about regular, everyday shit. Because that's what we are. We are everyday people. I am your primary host, Aunt Pruitt. My co-host is not here at the moment, Queen Pruitt. And as a matter of fact, she's probably not going to join us tonight. So this is going to be a short show. She is a little bit under the weather, so she's going to take this evening off more than likely because, again, you know, she's sick. Don't want to be on these here mics coughing and germing up all my studio equipment. I ain't having that. But no, yeah, she's just not feeling well right at the moment, so she's just going to chill out right now. Nothing serious. She's just probably just a little bit pooped. Is that a word? Well, I guess that's two words. Pooped. Now that I think about it, two meanings for that word. Plumb tuckered out. Let's say that. If you're from the South, you probably heard that phrase. Anyway, thank y'all for being here. Like I said, we just like to get together and talk and share what's been going on. If you are popping in here on our YouTube live stream, which is happening right now, thank you for being here. Go ahead and hit thumbs up or the like button that shows up on the screen. I truly appreciate that. And also hit the share arrow and hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel as of yet. I don't know why, but I should have 5,000 subscribers on this channel by now. I should. I don't know why I don't. I'm like right there. I should have 5,000 subscribers by now. So how about you help me out? Help me get there and get to 5K on this here YouTube channel because I'm like right there on the cusp. And again, if you got questions and comments and so forth, feel free to shoot an email to podcast@antpruitt.com. If you got questions, comments, feedback, gotten some of the last couple of days from last week's episode. Thank y'all very much for checking that stuff out and sending in that feedback. Very, very well received episode. I appreciate that. And I got some people showing up here in the live chat already. I love that. So let's pull up this live chat. Let's see. I see some names showing up here. There's my niece. Oh, feel better, TT, she says. I've never understood what TT, where that came from, but apparently that's what they call her. And I just run with it. And my homie Steve Brazel in the house, one of the most awesomest concert photographers out there. Check him out, Steve Brazel. He says, I'm at a concert. Imagine that. So I can't hear anything but watching you anyway. My brother, I thank you so much. I really do appreciate your support, my man. Outstanding. Shout out to John Hell. What's up, homie? And Steve Maris. Hey, Aunt, what's going on, brother? Dang, some new folks popping up in here. Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all being here tonight. Not going to keep y'all too long on this here episode. The Russell is up in there. Hey, Aunt, what's up? Any thoughts on the new Canon camera announcements? I do have thoughts on the new Canon camera announcement, but I'm not going to get into that tonight on this podcast. That's going to be for something else coming up like Friday. So you have to stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed and check out the creator office hours on Friday. I am definitely going to say my 2 cents on Friday. All right. So let's go ahead and get started with this here episode. Let's see. I can move this off of the screen now and get into a couple quick topics. And again, I'm not going to stay long on this mic since it's just me, but a couple of things came across my phone screen or my tablet screen or what have you that I thought was noteworthy and wanted to discuss with her, but instead I'll just discuss with you all tonight. So let me flip my screen over here so we can get rolling on this and we'll hit this button right here. All right. First story. This comes from ABC News, and I want to say CBS News also covered it as well. And it says, NFL. Okay, let me stop. I'm not going to talk about sports, y'all. I promise. Well, maybe a little. But this one is NFL Hall of Famer says he was unjustly handcuffed and, quote, humiliated on a flight. And this is regarding Mr. Terrell Davis, not Owens, Terrell Davis. He's a former player for the Denver Broncos and other teams such as the Georgia Bulldogs. Outstanding football player, outstanding human being. Well, here recently, he was on a flight. They were trying to go to Orange County and go to Disneyland. And next thing he know, when they land, he's being handcuffed by some freaking FBI agents. Now, why was he being handcuffed, you ask? Well, apparently the story goes as his family was with him, and his sons they asked for a beverage from the flight attendant, and the flight attendant was a bit snippy or whatever, what have you, whatever. They gave him the drink. And then the sons asked for a cup of ice, because he didn't give him a cup of ice. Normally they do that shit on a plane. I thought so. Seems like every single time I see drinks given out, there's usually a cup with ice in it and said beverage. Apparently that wasn't the case this time. So the kid asked for the cup of ice, and apparently the flight attendant didn't hear him. So Dad, Terrell Davis, tapped the guy on the shoulder, the attendant on the shoulder, because he was standing there. He says, hey, he asked for some ice, politely, if you will. And the flight attendant said, don't hit me. Wait, what? Don't hit me? What the hell, folks? So they got the cup of ice, and Terrell, he pretty much said, it was a little bit weird, thought it was odd, and just sat down and moved on. And when it was time to land, they thought there was some type of medical emergency going on because there was some announcement and whatnot, and it wasn't a medical emergency. And he hears the walkie-talkies and so forth coming onto the plane as the story goes. And the law enforcement comes up to him and whispers to him, just don't fight it. It's going to be okay. Something like that. And he put the handcuffs on him. And Terrell did not act out, but he was flat out humiliated. It is a shit show of a story. When I heard this story, I'm trying to figure out, all right, what would provoke this crap to happen for Mr. Terrell Owens? What is this? I mean, he's an NFL guy, former NFL guy, Hall of Famer. He's got some money. Is this just somebody trying to get a freaking, quick paycheck or what? No idea. And the other thing I was thinking was, okay, so let's see. Was this a white flight attendant feeling this way? Was this a black flight attendant feeling this way? We do know that it was a male flight attendant. That has been cleared up. I've been looking around in the story for other sources, other outlets talking about the story to see if they pieced together the race of this attendant. I'm still not seeing that, but I did find later on that Terrell Davis said, if I was white, this wouldn't have happened. So I don't know. Make your assumptions. Either way, if it's a white dude acting out with this bullshit, that's bullshit. If this is a black dude acting like this is bullshit too. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on this? I see the chat is going crazy about this story. Oh my, what are y'all talking about here? Let's see. Damn, let me scroll back. Jeez. The Russell says this was crazy. United did Terrell Davis dirty, and they did apologize, quote unquote, because that's how corporate communications goes. A story comes out and they go into damage control and they put out the awesome corporate apology. Usually they're empty, but so Terrell Davis got his attorney because that's what he's supposed to do, and he's like, what, we're not standing for this bullshit. And the flight attendant has definitely been suspended from duty. There hasn't been any word of this flight attendant being fired or anything like that, but they're definitely suspended from duty. John Helm says it's some BS from the flight attendant. Marcello says that is weird. Weird ain't the word I was thinking, Marcello. Good to see you. Folks are touchy in the world nowadays. And yes, my niece says, yep, agreed. BS either freaking way. Yeah, let me know your thoughts for y'all out there listening to this. Send an email to podcast@antpruitt.com with your thoughts on this story. I saw this and somebody else had a similar scenario, another NFL Hall of Famer. And I think this was right about last year, just before the Super Bowl. Well, maybe it's not last year. It was back in January, just before the Super Bowl. And I don't know if y'all know him, but the Playmaker is his nickname. Michael Irvin, former Dallas Cowboys. He got in trouble at a Marriott hotel. Some worker there tried to accuse him of sexual assault when old boy did absolutely nothing. Why? Because Michael Irvin has been around the block when it comes to that stuff. He had a very interesting playing career. He was a bit wild, but he learned his lesson. And so as an older man, grown man, if you will, he knew the stuff that he needed to take care of and tried to keep himself out of the position of being accused for bullshit like that. And of course, they checked the tapes and saw absolutely nothing. And Michael Irvin, he went to town on them, took them to court, and he got him a nice payday out of it. I believe it was a big settlement. I don't know if it was like some actual verdict, if you will, but I believe there was a big settlement that came out of it. And I'm just glad that these cats are like, you know what, we're not standing for this bullshit no more. Just that's what's up. So that are my thoughts. Marcello says, what's this here? However, I never touch someone to gain their attention. That's fair. That's fair. And so let me ask you this, Marcello. Would you have just allowed your son to just say, all right, forget it, you can't get the ice, or what? Because I guarantee you he was on a first class flight too. I guarantee it. And he paid for that. So is it just, you just let it go or what? What would you do in that scenario? Let me know. All right. So let's transition into one more story here. Let's see, because I have thoughts on it. And before I get into this story, I'm going to do a bit of a preamble here. Hey, dear YouTube, dear copyright holders, I'm getting ready to present something on my show as fair use. So if you send me a damn message about, hey, you're not copyright holders don't like this, I'm going to appeal it just like I appealed the last time. So here's your damn warning. All right. Sorry, y'all. That pissed me off. The next story. This is, I promise I didn't really want to get into sports, but this is some interesting stuff. This one is about Noah Lyles. Noah Lyles is an American sprinter, world-class American sprinter who is going for the gold medal in both the 100 meters and 200 meter dash in the Olympics. He's made waves during the Olympic trials and had an amazing performance there in both of those events. Great times, world leading times. I think he finally got beat on the time by the guy down in Jamaica. They just haven't raced each other yet. They'll more than likely meet up at the Olympics here in a couple of weeks. Well, Noah Lyles is facing some backlash from, in his words, from my own, quote unquote. So let's do another screen share here. So we hit that button right there. Toxicity from my own. Noah Lyles expresses sorrow towards the USA track and field community over heated backlash. And this is coming from essentiallysports.com. All right. The gist of the story. Okay. He is getting a lot of hate from folks because of they've been watching the docuseries on Netflix called Sprint. And I don't quite understand it, but no, I take that back because it makes me think about some other athletes in this time. If you don't know anything about Noah Lyles and you see him for the first time when he's lining up on the track, he's loud. He does these facial expressions and pulls out little Yu-Gi-Oh cards and stuff. And he's living it up. He is getting himself psyched out and pumped up and what have you. And he'll talk some trash every now and then. Well, I don't even know if it's talking trash. It's just he thinks he's the best and he's going to tell you, I'm the best in the damn world. I don't care who's standing in front of him. And personally, I don't have a problem with that. I don't. I haven't seen him get out there and totally just denigrate somebody. But what I do see is him being super confident in himself and not afraid to talk about it. Similar to the likes of Muhammad Ali, similar to the likes of Deion Sanders, similar to the likes of, I don't know, Michael Jordan. I mean, go on. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. Okay. But people are being rubbed the wrong way and calling him out on social media about his attitude and so forth. And he's noticing that the people that are calling him out are people from U.S. accounts. And he's sickened by it, if you will, according to Essentially Sports, because the Jamaicans, they are ride or die. Oh, which reminds me, you ever heard of Usain Bolt, the current world record holder in both of those races? Have you seen Usain Bolt run? Have you seen what he does at the end of all of his races back in the days? But he never heard any beef about that, right? So I don't get it. And I see a super chat just popped in here. Oh, thank you. The Russell $20 super chat. Thank you so much. He says, love the pod. I really do appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. John Helm says, no, Lyles is, he's confident. And indeed, confidence is why he's good. And charisma. Yeah, all of that stuff. It goes a long way in sports. And, but yet at the same time, I do get why some people would be put off by that stuff, because yes, I listed off Muhammad Ali. Yes, I listed off Usain Bolt and a few other folks, but then you have someone like Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders is another NFL Hall of Fame running back. And that man would run the ball, juke the draws off of people that tried to tackle him and scored a touchdown. Damn, just like it was nothing. And when he scored the touchdown, he would just hand the ball to the referee. You never saw him celebrate. You never saw him do a dance, a jig, or anything like that. He would just hand the ball to the referee and start running off the field to the sideline where he normally goes. Now, his teammates would come up and try to celebrate with him, and he'd high five them and this and that, but he was just business, strictly business. All right, next play. And the phrase was, act like you've been there, whenever they mention Barry Sanders and scoring a touchdown. He scores a touchdown and he, quote, acts like he's been there. And there's nothing wrong with that. But personally, I don't see anything wrong with the confidence and swagger of these other athletes that are just elite and great, as long as they're not calling out another player, as long as they're not calling out another athlete. And I can't say that Lyles has done anything like that, at least not yet. At least I haven't seen it. If you've seen that, please let me know. But again, this is all covered. This is all part of the backlash from this here Sprint documentary on Netflix. So let me let y'all listen to this, because there's a clip in here that stands out. Let's see if you can hear the audio.
You can be the best one in the world, but I'm not afraid of you.
No, you can't hear the audio. Let's try it again. I'll push this back. And then I'll do this right here so you can hear the audio. Where is it? Right there. So now, we'll play.
I'm Fred Curly, and it's my title.
That's what they all say until they get beat.
Yeah.
Okay, that line might be a bit much for some people, but he's got a point. He's got a point. That's what they all say until they get beat. Jeez. But yeah, let's play this out just a little bit more.
To win 100 minutes is no joke. You have to believe. But it's not gonna be easy.
My life was never the same.
Being my biggest critic, I have learned to use as motivation.
My whole life has been about pushing the barrier.
I'm coming for you.
World acknowledges
So much is riding on this.
better be ready to fight.
Your legacy, your contract.
My back against the wall, gotta be ready to fight.
There is a gold medal at the end of these 100 meters. Who wants it more?
Gotta get back up and fight. Better be ready to fight.
It's outstanding. I haven't finished this as of yet. I think I got maybe one more episode of it. I started watching it last week when it came out, and I watched one like every other day or so, something like that. It's a short series, Netflix, and it's outstanding. And yes, it's called Sprint, but it's not necessarily about sprinting, just so you know, because I also saw a comment on another story that said this thing isn't even about sprinting. They just titled it Sprint, but it's more of a docuseries just following the elite sprinters out there, including Miss Sha'Carri Richardson out there. And she's also crushing it. And people talked a lot of shit about her too. She went through a lot, and I am glad that she's just been redeemed and busting some ass. But yeah, that is my thoughts on that. And this chat, man, I love y'all in this chat. I can't even keep up with it. That's what's up. Enjoy the Bravo coffee unit. There's a story there. There's a story there. I'll get to the Bravo coffee maker here in a moment. The Russell says Barry was low key, but his game and running style did all the talking. Yeah, Barry Sanders is Hall of Famer, elite. He just didn't celebrate it. I mean, the dude even retired early because he was like, I'm done, And there's so many layers to Barry Sanders, but I'm not going to get into that because this is the sports podcast. It's not like he's Draymond Green. Yeah, Draymond Green is a whole other level when it comes to his confidence. Oh, my gosh. Man, Marcello says he's going to go check it out. And Hard Knocks is on Amazon. That's another good documentary, too. I've loved watching that for years. Good stuff, y'all. Good stuff. All right, we're going to pause for a quick commercial break, if you will. But first, I got to do something that I didn't do last week, and that is hit this button right here and say thank you to everyone that has been supporting me in the channel and all of us here on the show with our Patreon community. We have the Patreon out there at patreon.com/AntPruitt. And all of these folks right here are contributors and members that are paying one of the two tiers that I have. And we got a couple of new people that have joined in. This list includes, and I'll read it now since it's semi-short, and I'm going to butcher the names, apologizing now. Matt I can't say your last name, Matt. And he sent me an email about his last name. I forgot how he pronounced it, but he does have a great story too. He's got some ties to an NFL player. Alvin Brock, Joe Esposito, Dr. Drew, Tanya Wyman, Finn, Jeffrey Maricini, Ed Ingber, Kelvin, Catherine Killebrew, Sean Powers, Mike Claypool, my brother from another mother. Thank you. Michelle Thomas, Rich Breslin, and Joe Catskill. All of these folks are Patreon members, and I am so, so grateful for all of your support in being a part of the community. And again, if you would like to join the Patreon, just head on over to patreon.com/AntPruitt. That's patreon.com/AntPruitt. And check it out. I had some issues with Patreon because they got this community feature in there that I want to utilize, and it was working for a little bit, and then it just stopped working. I don't know why. I've reached out to Patreon. I reached out twice to Patreon. I don't know. Maybe I need to call somebody out. I don't know. Something to get this addressed, because I like to use that community feature in there to help it grow and just further connect with everybody in there. And as a matter of fact, I am toying with the idea of doing a hangout specifically with my Patreon members. Just got to figure out scheduling, because the problem is time zones and all of that stuff. I'm here in the Pacific time zone, and you folks are all over the daggum world. And I know this is going to be challenges with people can join, people can't join. The time's going to be too early. The time's going to be too late. I know all of that. So I'm just going to figure out something that will be like halfway in the middle, if you will. And if you can join, great. We're going to chat, have some fun. If you can't, that's all good too. I'm cool with that. But that is it. Thank you, Patreon members. Now we're going to pause for a brief commercial break. We'll be right back. All right, and we are back. Thank y'all again. This is Everyday People doing everyday shit here on YouTube and whatever podcast app you enjoy this on. If you're watching live on YouTube, please go ahead and hit the thumbs up / like button right now on the screen, and hit the share button and tell other folks. Come in here and join the chat room and shout out to me, yell at me, what have you here on the show. I do appreciate all of the support. And again, I do appreciate the feedback from last week's show. Got some feedback from Iggy, got some feedback from Joe Esposito that was really, really kind too. And some feedback from my beloved friend over there on the Gullah Coast, Miss Cindy. Thank you so much for that feedback and those kind words and messages, y'all. Means a lot. Now, previously here in the chat, someone mentioned a Breville coffee maker. Yes. Breville coffee maker. So during my time at Pruitt, okay, we had this insane coffee station there at the studio. You had an AeroPress, you had a regular drip coffee, you had teas. I mean, just all kinds of stuff. And then there was this what do you call it? This espresso machine by Breville. And the thing was just freaking magical. I loved that machine. And every time I was in there, I made myself an espresso or I made myself a latte because it's got all the bells and whistles. It's got the pressure gauge on it. So you know just perfectly how your coffee's coming out. And it's just, I loved it. And I always told the Laportes, I was like, hey, let me have that. You know? And of course they say no, because I knew they'd say no. And then I would joke and I'd say, one of these days I'm just going to walk in here and just stuff this coffee maker up under my shirt and go home one day, you know? And I always joked about that and gave them grief. And I always use that thing. Well, today, July 17th, 2024, I went over to Pruitt studio because I got a message from Mr. Laporte yesterday. He says, hey, there's an espresso machine here that's earmarked with your name on it. And I'm like, wait, what? And he said, yeah, you can come get the espresso machine. And the reason he said that is because Pruitt studio is closing down. The last show they're going to do in the studio will be, I think, August 7th. And it's going to be This Week in Google, the show that I used to be on. But Pruitt is not closing. They're just shutting down that studio. They're shutting down that studio to save some money. And I get it. Because doing podcasting is a lot easier nowadays. And people like Pruitt and heck, even myself doing this right here on video is total overkill. I'm sitting here with 1, 2, 3 monitors, 1, 2, 3 lights, 1, 2, 3 cameras. I don't need all of that. I don't. It's totally not necessary. What I really need is this microphone and a recording device to do a podcast. I don't necessarily have to have all of the extra stuff. I mean, I got freaking graphics and all that other stuff, you know, none of that's necessary, but I like it. I like it. And I'm doing that. But Pruitt Studio has been struggling over the last year and a half or so. I got laid off back in December 2023, you know, and there was no hard feelings. I knew and know that I'm expensive, you know, and wait a minute. Did I miss a super chat? Hold on. I did. I missed a super chat. $9.99 from John Hill. Thank you, brother. He says, love the community. Thank you, my man. I'm sorry. I just not saw that. That's been up there for a little bit. Thank you so much for the super chat. Really do appreciate that. But yeah, as far as Pruitt goes, it's, you know, like I said, it laid me off back in December, and it was, I could say I sort of saw this coming. You know, as a matter of fact, I had mentally prepared for that months prior to that, because the podcast industry is very freaking hard. It is tough. If you're trying to do it and have it be supported, be it by sponsors or community or what have you, it's not easy. First off, you need to get content created, and then you need to get the content created to where a lot of people are enjoying it before a sponsor even will sniff it, you know? And it's just a tough industry, and you got people out there that are killing it one way or another. You know, you got the Joe Rogans and so forth. And then you got people like me that's just in the long laundry list of millions and millions of other podcasts out there. Okay. Millions of them. And they're not all that great. I'm not going to sit here and say mine's great, but I ain't going to say this podcast is bad. But what I'm saying is there's a lot of competition for attention out there. So most people saw their numbers go down in count for downloads, Twit included, you know, so things got tougher and money got tighter, and I get it. It was a good business decision for them to lay me off. I get it. No hard feelings. I love the Laporte family to this day. They've done so much stuff for me personally and professionally. And not just me, but also for my family. I mean, we got nothing but love for those cats, you know, so you're not going to hear me sit here and talk shit about them. But yeah, they're closing down the studio because it's going to save them some money and allow them to not do more job cuts and stuff like that, you know, so they're trying to just make things better to keep things going on the air. And I totally support that. But I also appreciate them hooking me up with the Breville. I got it home this afternoon. I fired it up. I ground some beans, made one shot, pulled one shot on it, and the pressure was too low. So it wasn't quite good. It was, yeah. So I dumped that one, changed the grind on my coffee grinder, pulled another shot. Oh, and it was magical. Oh, it was magical. I freaking love that thing. But yeah, I'm grateful for them and the friendship and relationship that I have with them as a family and as business professionals. And I will always wish Twit luck. And I see another super chat has come in here. Oh, this is from Ozone Nightmare. What's up, man? Thank you for being here. Thank you for your feedback too. $10 super chat. Thank you for that. It says, sucks to see the studio closing down, but if the goal is to make sure the network stays up, that's the important thing. Exactly. I'm really glad I don't depend on my show for money or I'd be panicking. Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. Marcelo says, dude, you may not need us. You may not need to use the Breville coffee machine, the scaler, as often as the unit asks to use a tablet. I descale it 2 to 4 times a year. Oh, that's another thing. I already have an espresso machine here. I have a Gaggia, but I don't like the Gaggia as much as I like this Breville. And as far as the scaling, since we moved to this new place, I'm curious to see how that's going to go because we're on different water now, and it's in the well. And that all of that makes a big difference, but I'm going to play around with it. William in the chat says, why isn't it showing it? There it is. All right, William, I just saw your name. William Jesk. Hello to you. Good to see you. Are you taking questions about photography in general, cameras in particular? Not on this show, but that will be Friday for the creator office hours. Or if you want to shoot an email to the show, I'll read that email and answer it then too, if you want. So shoot a message to podcast@antpruitt.com. Thank you very much. Yeah, this is Everyday People Doing Everyday Shit show. Not shit show, Everyday Shit podcast. And I got to tell you, if Queen Pruitt was sitting over there and I start talking about cameras, yeah, her eyes would roll and she'd probably throw something at me. So that's not going to happen. But yeah, check out Creator Office Hours. Just make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications, and you'll see that live stream go up on Friday. Thank you. Queen Pruitt is not feeling well, John Helms. She's I think she's just plumb tuckered out. You know, it's been a little busy, and you know, with everything else going on, and your body says, all right, you need to sit your ass down and chill. So that's what she's doing over there. Yeah. And she's doing okay though. She's fine, but you know, just needs to chill out. Thank you for asking though. And I always tell her, you know, nobody comes to this show for me. They come to the show for you. They come to the show for you. Whether she believes that or not, I don't know, but I get it. I know She's the star. Yes, little letters. And somebody mentioned that in one of their feedbacks. It was so funny. So funny. Thank you for that. All right. One last thing before I go. I wrote a piece, since y'all talking about cameras, make sure one thing you may be interested in, I will put this in the show notes and I will also stick it right here in the chat. But I've been playing around with the camera and I had some thoughts on it and wrote about it on ZDNET. I thank ZDNET for allowing me to be a contributor and earn a few dollars here to help pay some bills. But I wrote about this little camera right here. See that? That is the Canon R100 mirrorless. I mean, look at how tiny this is. It's so small. But I had some thoughts on that. And Mr. Jesk, you may find that helpful there. So go ahead and check that out. It's on ZDNet. I can show it on the screen too. There we go. ZDNet.com. The camera I recommend to most new photographers is not a Sony or a Nikon. Nikon is actually how it's supposed to be said. And it's $100 off. And it's $100 off right now because of Prime Day. Did y'all do any Prime Day shopping? But yeah, check that out. I won't get into all of that in there, but I do need to plug that because, if they see people are reading my stuff, they may want to keep having me write and pay some bills here. You know what I'm saying? So thank y'all for that. All right. I think I'm going to call it a night. I promised I wasn't going to keep this episode long because last week's was a lot longer. Oh, I didn't mean to say become a patron. My bad. Turn that off. Oh, man. John Helms, yes, 24 megapixels. 24 megapixels. Yep. Which is plenty. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you for checking out the show this week. Thank you for checking out the show each and every week. Also, thank you for telling others about the podcast, y'all. Tell folks to go check out the show. You can check out the video version here on YouTube or on the webpage. The webpage is antpruitt.com/podcast, and I have both the audio there and a video there, all nice and prettied up and edited and so forth. But yeah, tell more people about the show. It really does help me out and help us get some support financially as we want to try to, have more sponsors hit this thing and pay some more bills. You know what I'm saying? So thank you for doing that. Thank you for being a part of the Patreon community. Again, Patreon community is patreon.com/AntPruitt. That's patreon.com/AntPruitt. I don't think I have anything else to plug this week. I don't think so. But I look forward to hearing from you all regarding some of these topics that we discussed tonight. I will put a link in the show notes for both of those stories that I discussed, as well as the documentary. I'll have a link in the show notes just in case you want an easy way to find those things. All right. One last thing before we go. Be sure to do something good for yourself. Be sure to do something good for someone else. And please know that it is okay to love you some you. All right. Y'all take it easy. I shall see y'all next time. Take care.